Hey guys, I have a bit of an update for you. I think doing a voiceover would be best for this video because I'm going to be giving out information. And to be clear, I'm not a doctor, but I have found these points interesting. And if you are questioning your health, please always consult with a doctor or a medical professional. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's this morning. Um, I have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism since 2016, but none of my doctors in the past have done a full thyroid panel on me until last week. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder affecting the thyroid gland. The thyroid is a butterfly shaped gland located at the base of the neck just below the Adam's apple. The thyroid produces hormones that help regulate many functions of the body. An autoimmune disorder is an illness caused by the immune system attacking healthy tissues. With Hashimoto's, the immune system creates antibodies that attack thyroid cells as if they were bacteria, viruses, or some other foreign body. The immune system wrongly enlists disease fighting agents that damage the cells and lead to cell death. In Hashimoto's disease, immune system cells lead to the death of the thyroid's hormone producing cells. The disease usually results in a decline in hormone production, which is also called hypothyroidism. What causes the immune system to attack thyroid cells is not clear. The onset of the disease may be related to genetic factors, environmental triggers such as infection, stress, or radiation exposure, or interactions between environmental and genetic factors. And I wanted to talk about fibromyalgia as well because with Hashimoto's, there's just a lot of overlap, so I wanted to also touch on fibromyalgia. I've had several doctors believe I had fibromyalgia, but it was until my current doctor that I was diagnosed in December of 2021. My doctor did the tender point exam, and alongside my blood work that I had done, she confirmed that I did have fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is often characterized by additional pain when firm pressure is applied to specific areas of your body, called tender points. In the past, at least 11 out of these 18 spots had to test positive for tenderness to diagnose fibromyalgia. However, given that fibromyalgia symptoms can come and go, a person might have 11 tender points one day but only have 8 tender points the next day, and many doctors were uncertain about how much pressure to apply during the tender point exam. It's important to determine whether your symptoms are caused by some other underlying problem. Common culprits include rheumatic diseases, certain conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and others that can begin with generalized aches and pains. Mental health problems, disorders such as depression and anxiety often feature generalized aches and pains. Neurological disorders. In some people, fibromyalgia causes numbness and tingling, symptoms that mimic those disorders such as multiple sclerosis and myasthenia gravis. Your doctor may want to rule out other conditions that have similar symptoms. Blood tests may include complete blood count, erythrocyte sedimentation rate, cyclic citrulline peptide test, rheumatoid factor, thyroid function test, anti-nuclear antibody test, celiac serology test, and a vitamin D test. It's also shown that people with PTSD are prone to developing fibromyalgia as well. You can also have Hashimoto's and fibromyalgia. Around 30 to 40% of people with Hashimoto's disease also have fibromyalgia, while fibromyalgia occurs only in 2 to 7% of the general population. This means it is relatively common to have both conditions at the same time. While this indicates a strong link between the two, researchers are not entirely sure why. Studies have indicated that Hashimoto's disease could be considered a risk factor for fibromyalgia, as a high percentage of those who are diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease were found to later develop fibromyalgia. This suggests a possible cause and effect relationship between the two conditions. And I say this because I was confused on how to be diagnosed properly, I guess, with fibromyalgia. I was always told that it, you had to rule out rheumatoid and autoimmune disorders, but I guess I wasn't quite sure what it meant to have an autoimmune disorder or how that affected rheumatoid or like how they were related. But I've seen multiple people who have said they both have Hashimoto's and fibromyalgia. So, yeah, and I've done a little bit of research now, and you can definitely have both. I think having both Hashimoto's and fibromyalgia has opened my eyes to people with disabilities. And I mean physical disabilities because I've always had mental disabilities, but not so much physical disabilities. And since I lived in a constant state of hypervigilance because I lived with my primary abuser, I never knew just how much pain I was in. I moved out 2 years ago now, and my physical health has really declined. Or I think I just noticed how much pain I'm actually in. My doctor told me that there's nothing more she could do about my Hashimoto's because I'm on levothyroxine already, so it's an uphill battle for me. Not to mention that I also have polycystic ovarian syndrome to top it all off. But confirming that I have Hashimoto's was a big deal for me because now I know what other issues I'm dealing with, so I can better face them. And I have to do more research because I normally don't do researches on illnesses unless I'm diagnosed, so I have a lot to learn. And I've been suspecting that I have Hashimoto's, but I wasn't entirely sure, and that's why I really wanted my doctor to do a full thyroid panel on me. Also, knowing that it is an autoimmune disease, and while we're having a panorama still, um, it's just kind of screwed up to me that this whole time I was, considered at high risk. Then have my doctor tell me that there was really like no point in doing further testing because I was already on medication for it. But I think it's good to know if you have an autoimmune disorder. I also wanted to give you guys an update on the intensive treatment program I'm about to start. I got a call this past Tuesday and I'll be having my intake next Thursday. I really think it'll be very beneficial for my mental health professionals to see how I actually live because the person I am inside a therapy office is definitely not the same person out in the real world. So I think this will be extremely beneficial for us. I hope you guys don't mind the voiceover. I suck at reading notes and filming myself. I suck at filming myself anyway because there's a camera on me, so I stutter and everything a lot more. I say a lot more. Where I have a voiceover, I'm in more control and can stop and re-record. This is my second time recording this because I just felt like it was awful the first time. And I hope you guys understand my frustration. But I think it's important to have these discussions about mental health and physical health because who knows, um, you know, who knows what you might say or share or like share your story and it might help others. So, I want to thank you for listening as always, and I hope you know that you are loved and you are valid. And I really hope you keep on keeping on.